You do this like every week. What? Okay. Why am I stumped? Do next thing. Brain, do next thing. Brain, do next thing. There we go. All right, share. God damn it! Why did I freeze with that? Good lord. All right. You're alive. We alive. We alive, and we still here. You give love some bad beer. All right. Oh, what's good, 1610 man? How you doing? Oh wait, I gotta do the thing where no, don't press that button. There we go. That's the button I gotta press. Hola, ¿cómo está? I'm not wearing a green beanie today. It is not beanie weather. Guy Ritchie's Captain Britain. Unironically, I would watch that. That would make me care about Captain Britain outside of the Ultimate Universe. 'Cause I love Guy Ritchie. Dude, a major missed opportunity. Maybe we might get this in the future. I don't know. But Guy Ritchie would be the perfect person to direct a Nightwing movie. He would. Can you imagine it? Like the movie opens with like a wide shot of Bloodhaven, and you got Funky Town playing, and then you just cut to like some dive bar where you got Nightwing wearing the Disco Wing outfit, and you got gotta move on, dun, 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 dun. Like I'd be down with that. I'd be down with that. Tell me you'd be down with that, because I'd be down with that. I think everyone would sort of be down with that, but I don't know. I'm just some dude spouting off opinions. It'd be amazing. Michael Mann's the Spot. I mean, that's basically like what he is in the Spider-Verse movie. Although, I don't know, I do have a thing where I feel like a Nightwing movie should just inherently lend itself to be more so like a Teen Titans thing in general. Because I don't know, I've talked about this before in videos. I think the problem that Nightwing faces, and DC's sort of like rectifying that now. I mean, they're trying to have their cake and eat it too, which I think that doesn't really work. But Nightwing as a character does not work as a solo adventurer, because Dick Grayson's not Batman. You know, Dick Grayson is Batman minus all the hang-ups. He is Bruce Wayne if all that trauma was properly dealt with in his youth, and he had positive male and female role models around him growing up in his formative years, and now he is like the best version of himself. He gets to be the best version of himself, and that's what I really like about the current status quo for Nightwing. I'm not especially a big fan of the current series. I don't really like Tom Taylor's approach to Nightwing. I don't like his approach to the DC Universe, really. Or I guess the mainline DC Universe. He does really good with Elseworlds stories, but when it comes to like the actual DC Universe, he had this problem with the Marvel Universe too. But like when it comes to like the actual DC Universe, his voice for those characters feels weird and off and built for Twitter in a way that I think is awful. I mean, I think building a story for Twitter is awful in general, but like it feels like the DC Universe by way of Twitter, and I don't like it. That said, the status quo is really good. Dick Grayson he's like a multimillionaire, and he's just trying to run like social programs for Bloodhaven, and or at least that's what I think he's doing. I'm following that book very sporadically, because that's the other frustrating thing with the series. I can't stand Tom Taylor's writing, but oh my god, if this man isn't doing some of the most innovative things in comics, uh, between that one issue he did where it's literally just one solid panel, like the entire 22-page issue is just one panel. That's amazing. That's you're thinking about it. You're taking the medium and like you're pushing it to its limits, and I think that's like the best way to tell comic book stories. But here with Nightwing 105, with the art done by just the impeccable, amazing, glorious, spectacular. I'm gonna run out of adjectives before I find their name in the credits. Hope not, though. Why do I have all these things for the Flash? Bruno Redondo. Wait. Redondo. The amazing Bruno Redondo and Adriano Lucas. Oh, Adriano Lucas did the colors for this. Cool. Yeah, like, this is just... Everything here is a POV. It's Nightwing POV. This is... I mean, I like POV, but like in comics, you take POV and comics, and you fuse them together. That's amazing. But yeah, this is like a whole. This whole comic is just Dick Grayson's POV. How? Look, I'm sure someone's done this before, but like, again, that's the thing that's frustrating about this book. I don't like Tom Taylor's voice for these characters. But I love what he's doing with the medium here. And I love that he gets to be creative in a corporate setting with these IP characters. I think that's brilliant. I think that's beautiful. And I begrudgingly bought a copy of this to support the art. Because damn, the art's good. And damn, credit where credit's due. Tom Taylor is just knocking it out of the park with a lot of the crazy out there ideas that he has for just the medium. I'm with it. I'm absolutely with it. Plus Bruno Redondo's art's amazing. Like I genuinely love this art style. It kind of weirdly reminds me of DC Comics in like the not mid 2000s, like the later to mid 2000s. It's like a hybrid of like mid 90s DC Comics and post Infinite Crisis DC Comics. This is what that art style kind of feels like to me. And it feels like that's like the house style for DC now. Like you're getting a lot of artists and a lot of colorists following the footsteps of Dan Mora. I think Dan Mora's artwork is kind of becoming like the new house style for DC, which I think is wonderful because that's just pure DC as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, Bruno Redondo just has like an amazing grasp on how these characters should kind of be visualized. And I don't know, I'm not a fan of Tom Taylor's run of Nightwing in general, but I do really like. Again, I like the craft, and I like what they're going for. So, yep, really good stuff here. I don't know how I got on this tangent, but there we go. Those are my thoughts on Tom Taylor's Nightwing, I guess, if you wanted that. Superman fans equal Silver Age versus Modern Age. Yeah, dude, I'm gonna talk about that in my next video. Actually, my next video is me talking about Action Comics 775 and how I am just not a fan of that book. Might rustle some feathers in the Superman community, but I don't like it. I mean, you're gonna hear me talk about it this next week ish, most likely the week after next. Because I'm writing this, and this is becoming like it's like a 4-pager. 4-pagers typically take about like a week and a half to edit. But You'll see my thoughts. You'll see my thoughts. In the meantime, though, on some positive Superman news, the first issue. I almost said issue. The first episode of My Adventures with Superman comes out tomorrow. That's something. I know that Real Comic Book Gamer is talking about how it looks like it's made for Twitter and it doesn't really interest him. I get that. I 100% get that. And I think he's right. It does look like it was made for Twitter, and I even replied to him saying that the post Man of Steel reactionary vibes are there. Like, this is definitely a show that was made as a reaction to Man of Steel, but in particular Twitter's reaction to Man of Steel over these past 10 years. I feel like the show has been carefully engineered to be the opposite of Snyder's take on Superman. Commercially, that could work out perfectly. Creatively, we'll see. Yeah, I'm interested in giving it a shot. This is the first Superman show we've had since Legion of Superheroes, like 16, 17 years ago. So I'm down. I'm down for a new Superman show. Apparently, it's made by the She-Ra people. I didn't watch the She-Ra reboot, so I don't know. Are they the same people who did Voltron? Because I liked the Voltron show a lot. So I don't know. I like Voltron. A lot of other people like Voltron, except for the Tumblrites who hated the ending. But yeah, we'll see. I like the animation style. I like that they're kind of going for I don't mind the Tumblr-y. Okay, sorry. I see questions there, but I do want to get this off my chest, and I'm gonna address this in the Superman versus the Elite video that I'm working on. One of the big problems that I think DC in general, but specifically Superman, have faced for the past 30 plus years is their characters feel crystallized in this Alex Ross, Norm Rockwell painting, and I mean, I just kind of firmly, I reject that. I reject that way of looking at those characters. I reject the Kingdom Come Alex Ross wallpaper of the DC universe. I do not like that interpretation of the DC universe, and I really resent how that's become the default for those characters in that universe. I think DC characters, where they shine, is that compared to Marvel characters, the Marvel universe, and I love the Marvel universe, but the Marvel universe is a soap opera. So the version of Wolverine that you see now is, in theory, the Wolverine that you saw in Hulk 181. That is the same character. You're just kind of watching all these characters kind of go through the motions through the years. DC's not like that, for better or worse. DC gets to be more flexible. You get to take these concepts and you get to bend them. You get to take these archetypes and do weird shit with them. That's when I think DC is at its best. When you get All-Star Superman and Superman Earth 1 and Grant Morrison's run on Action Comics, where he's he's got the t-shirt and jeans and he's the rough and tumble, cocky golden age, too smart for his own good, but also too cocky for his own good kind of character. But also have like Alex Ross and I think it's Jim Kruger, like Alex Ross and Jim Kruger's Justice coming out at the same time. You get to see all these, you get to see all these different faces of Superman at the same time. It's the same character, but you're seeing them through a different lens every time. You get to take these concepts and be flexible with them, and that's the thing that really excites me about the upcoming My Adventures of Superman show. It is a very Tumblr-y, very LOL cutesy like interpretation of Superman, but I think what's going to be refreshing in that take is that we've never really seen that take with the character before, and it is something new. And I think that we need something new for that character. I think that is like, I think we need to shake not just DC fans but Superman fans out of this like Alex Ross fueled apathy of the character can only be one way and it has to look like Kingdom Come. Like, no, we gotta shake that out of people's heads. You know, these characters are flexible. You can do a lot of things with them. I am excited for the new Superman show because I think it can do that. Alright. Sorry, that's my mini rant out of the way. Yeah. Mark Miller said, 95% of comics fans are not on Twitter. The man who pissed off Twitter. I mean, he's right. Like, I worked at a comic book store for, like, God knows how long. Like, most of the people who go into the shop, they don't use Twitter. They'll watch YouTube videos every once in a while, but, like, they're just kind of picking up comics. They'll talk to you about them, and then they'll go on their way and then do whatever it is they do in the real world, and then they come back next Wednesday. That's how the average comic book fan engages with comics. I don't know, man. Not Alex Ross. Mark Waid is like 100% on something with that. Supreme says, to be honest, I haven't been enjoying Tom Taylor's run on Nightwing. I feel like his take on Dick Grayson is a flanderization of the character. It's just a cover version of the 90s Dixon run. Do you agree? I haven't read the 90s Dixon run in its completion, but from what I've read, yeah, I definitely see that. Oh, what's up, Adam? How you doing? My big problem with Dixon's run, and that goes double for Tom Taylor's run, is that it's running off of this idea that Dick Grayson has like a weird, resentful relationship with Bruce, and it's built on daddy issues and how Dick wants to not be in Bruce's shadow. These are all things that Dick overcame in New Teen Titans by Wolfman and Perez. That's like the core. That is the core problem with doing Nightwing in the modern day. A lot of people are just kind of retreading the same ground that the character was kind of at in those like in-between pages of Judas Contract, where Dick Grayson considers giving up being a superhero because he doesn't want to be Robin anymore. He doesn't want to be, you know, tied to Batman's hip for the rest of his life. But that's what Nightwing was. Nightwing was him becoming his own man. So when Dixon did that run, I mean, it's fun comics. I'll give him that, but like it's. Oh no! I'm in my bed cowering, and there's the shadow of the bats looming over me. I'm having nightmares. And it's like you already overcame this fear, dog. What are we doing here? And now Tom Taylor's kind of like treading the same water, but with like Twitter talk. So I don't know. I'm not vibing with it. But that's just like a Nightwing inherent problem. I think the place for a Nightwing is to just be on a Titans book or the Justice League. Ideally, Nightwing should not be Nightwing. He should be Batman. But don't get me on that train. Don't get me on that train. Because I will not jump off. Uh, I will drag all the passengers down with me, and I'm going to phone. Yeah. Um. Remember Kryptonian, Nightwing, and Flamebird? You mean the real John Kent, who's Christopher Kent, who is now just evil Zod boy post the post Flashpoint. Sure, yeah, I remember that. Thanks for reminding me. Pepperidge Farm remembers. Stream says, Batman question. What Batman stories and runs have you not read? Stories and runs you want to read but haven't. Um, I really want to read a lot of the Bronze Age material, which is out of print. I really want to read Strange Apparitions. I haven't read that, but that's one of the big ones. I haven't had a chance to read Strange Apparitions. I know what happens in it, but I haven't read it. And let's see. Hey, Greg. Hola, ¿cómo está? How you living? Yeah, I'm streaming right now. Talking to the mic.
Okay. So, yeah, the Flash is, I mean, he's such a wonderful character, and he's played by such a great and non-problematic actor like Ezra Miller. That's what I love about him.
I thought you meant John Wesley Shipp.
Who's John Wesley Show?
John Wesley Shipp. He played the Flash in the '90s TV show.
Oh, that dude with Mark Hamill. Oh, I forgot his name for a minute. Sorry. Yeah, that dude. He's fine.
Yeah. So far, he is the most comic accurate live action Barry Allen we've ever had.
Well, respectfully, as someone who grew up during the 90s and 2000s, there's really only one Flash for me, and it will forever be Wally West. I mean, you can give me.
I thought you were gonna say Jesse Quick.
No, I was not gonna say Jesse Quick. I'm not gonna say fucking any of those people. I'm not fucking Jesse Quick.
Wait, wait! Are you disrespecting the other speedsters? Get out of here!
Jesse Quick.
Get out of here!
Oh, Max Mercury. You know, fuck that shit.
Fuck you! I love Max Mercury. He's amazing. He's Obi-Wan Kenobi of the Speed Force.
He's fine. They're all fine. But for me, like, again, what I hate about current Barry Allen is that he essentially, and we've had this conversation before, he cannibalized Wally West's myth and lore. He straight up just ate it. And it's like, oh yeah, all of these things that you think are cool that belong to Barry Allen, no, they actually belong to Wally West. That's what pisses me off. If you really wanted to do a Wally West thing, you'd have to be like, yeah, this is all Wally West stuff. They'd be like, oh, you're just copying Barry Allen. And you have to be the pretentious comic book nerd that says, well, actually, modern day Barry Allen has been copying Wally West. And it's like, oh no, I watched this movie show, I think I know. And then you're getting into an argument with people who think, like, someone once said that the worst people to argue with are dumb people, because at least dumb people know they're dumb and they know the limitations of their intelligence. They're not dumb per se, they know the limits of their intelligence. But ignorant people who are willfully stupid to the truth, it's like arguing against, it's not even arguing against a brick wall, it's arguing against like a pie chart that constantly shifts its data just to fuck with you.
Tell us how you really feel.
Genuinely, those people, they piss me off more than anything else, because it's like, oh no, this is what Barry, it pisses me off because it's like, you're just like everything. It's like the CW show. It took a bunch of Wally West shit and it made it worse and like not as interesting in a lot of ways. Like the first couple seasons were pretty good, but at the same, like they literally took Zoom, Hunter Zolomon, one of my favorite DC antagonists of all time, and they just were like, oh, he's a serial killer and he's addicted to this thing called like Velocity 9. He's essentially a drug addict and a serial killer. And I was like, well, no, that's not him at all. And
yeah, but that's like the kind of that show in a nutshell. They kind of like made Linda Park just Mary Jane.
Essentially, yeah.
I don't know. but like I don't know, it's a I don't know the Flash show. I'm not the biggest fan of, but
It,
I
it
don't
had its
really
moments.
like
It
one
had
of the
its
big.
moments.
I don't really talk about it like on the show and just in general. Just because I didn't watch past season 2.
Most people didn't. I mean, some people, like the diehard CW fans, they stuck it out. But even for me, I'm going to be honest with you, I couldn't get through season. And I told you, right? I was a late starter to the whole CW Arrowverse to begin with, because a lot of those first shows felt like cheap ripoffs of like Smallville.
What's good, Arcus? How you doing?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, just saying hi to Arcus. Interacting with the chat.
No, sorry, my bad. What I was saying, you know this, that I've said this before. I was a late starter to the CW verse because those shows kind of felt like they were just like copy and pasting like Smallville and Supernatural. But eventually, I did get into them a couple of years later, and then I was like, okay, this is all right. But I couldn't like. When it comes to the Flash, I don't think I made it past season 5 or 6. I think.
Oh, you lasted super long. Oh man, so 1610 man just said that I should pitch my DC universe like Max Landis did. Oh god.
Well,
I think
Max Landis, I know he's a tad problematic, but the man wrote one of my favorite Superman comics, so it's like, yeah. Well.
honestly based like Max Landis honestly has a lot of really good ideas. I think you could get canceled for saying that, but oh, hold on a second. Hola, ¿cómo está? How you doing, baby?
I'm great, how are you?
Me Gucci, I'm streaming.
Oh shit, I'm sorry.
No, you good. Me and Greg are talking about Kingdom Come and Alex Ross coming through Kingdoms.
Tell Greg I say hi, and also that if he doesn't want to, something.
Oh, say hi to the chat.
When you go to if you get all that Kingdom Come, you need a Trojan horse before you get a principality.
Oh, that was pure poetry, sweetheart.
Thank you. You can steal it.
I don't have to. The stream heard it. it's here.
Shit. Alright, good night.
Good night.
Love you.
Love
Bye.
you too. Bye. Greg?
Yeah.
No, that was Maddie.
Oh, okay.
But oh, Maddie says hi.
And I say hi to her as well.
But yeah, Max Landis is like a weird case. Like I genuinely like his take on the DC universe. The problem is he's just like he's such a douchebag that it makes it hard to like want to engage with it.
The problem with talent is sometimes talent falls into the laps of like some problematic dudes. Like I love Warren Ellis, I really do. I'll always love Warren Ellis. And I don't care what anyone says about that, but
well, a bunch of 17 and 18-year-old goth girls on the internet loved Warren Ellis.
I love Warren Ellis. Warren Ellis and Matt Fractions are the dudes who made me fall in love with Tony Stark.
Oh, dude, same here.
Five Nightmares might be one of my favorite Iron Man stories. Extremis, all that shit. Warren Ellis made me fall in love with Tony Stark. Until then, Tony Stark for me, and I'm going to be honest with you, even before the movies, like around that time, I was like, I'm not really a huge Warren Ellis fan. I'm not a huge Iron Man fan, right? I read Extremis for the first time. I'm like, okay, yeah, I think I'm an Iron Man fan.
Did you not watch did you watch the 90s Iron Man cartoon at all?
You know what's weird? I do remember it vaguely, but weirdly enough, it wasn't until I rewatched it like years back that I was like, oh yeah, I did watch this, but I wasn't as I just wasn't cognizant of it back then. I saw it, but I don't think it ever, like, the only thing I remember from that show was Spider-Woman. That's the only thing I remember from that show. That and Green Mandarin, but besides that, I barely remember the show.
It's kind of a weird, like, in the way that I think a lot of those 90s Marvel shows are almost like direct adaptations of comics, but with a skew to them.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like how the
60s comics.
yeah, or like how the 90s like the 90s Spider-Man cartoon is more or less just the Roger Stern, DeMatteis era of Spider-Man, just like translated to like a children's TV show, or like how like the 90s X-Men cartoon is basically just Claremont X-Men. I feel like the 90s Iron Man show is...
I prefer X-Men Evolution, and I don't care what anyone ever says about it. I said it in the shop one time, and I've said it to any person whoever wants to step up to the bat for that argument. I say I prefer X-Men Evolution, and I don't give a fuck.
I mean, I do too. I think it's the superior X-Men show.
It's a better cartoon. It's
but like,
a better X-Men show.
In terms of like adaptation, like I think you do have to like kind of give it to the 90s X-Men cartoon for straight up just being Claremont X-Men.
Claremont, it's Jim Lee. It's all that. I'm not taking away from it.
But like the 90s Iron Man cartoon is more or less like it's like Len Kaminsky era Iron Man, like almost to a T. Not exactly, but like almost to a T.
You know what I do remember? I don't remember the Iron Man show as well until I rewatched it, but I do remember the Silver Surfer show. Like, it had this way of sticking in my head, mostly because it took panels directly from Kirby's artwork. It felt like, oh, you guys were really just trying to it almost felt like they made the show out of the fucking bones of Kirby's artwork, because it was like, oh, you guys really just were like, let's go with the blueprint, let's just do that.
And I wish more shows would do that. Like, we were talking about the new upcoming Superman TV show coming out, My Adventures with Superman. I'm excited for
the porn parodies. I know, you've told me.
Well, that too. You know, I mean, the Tumblr's gonna Tumblr, but I'm excited for the prospect of what that show could potentially do for like the Superman brand, and like how it would like open up people's minds to the possibilities of what you can do with those characters, or like, the DC characters in particular. Oh, you missed it. I had like a huge rant about Kingdom Come.
No, I know how you feel.
Yeah,
about but work that you don't love the story. It's one of those things you've mentioned more than a few times.
Yeah, but yeah, no. My one thing with the show, I wish it, instead of going for like the She-Ra, like, fuck, what's that show? The DreamWorks Voltron TV show. Instead of going for that animation style, I wish they went with something more like off the page comic booky, like Dan Mora, which kind of like the show is like an approximation of Dan Mora's art style. I wish they just kind of straight up did, like, they just had Dan Mora do the art, or like be like an art director for the show. Who?
Greg Capullo.
I like Greg Capullo, but I don't see him as a Superman guy. I see him more as like a Batman guy.
I feel like he can translate. If he can do Superman and Spawn, I feel like he can. I mean, if he can do Batman and Spawn, he can do Superman. I mean, Spawn is the greatest superhero who's ever existed, according to Mr. McFarlane.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure Mark Waid would have excellent words for that.
But if you're gonna do Spawn, you gotta do Keith David Spawn. Like, no disrespect to Michael J. White, but if I'm gonna hear Spawn, I need Keith David. I don't.
Oh, dude, that goes without saying. Like, Keith David is like the Spawn, to the point where they brought him back in Mortal Kombat 11.
Of course,
he's perfect.
Who else's voice are you gonna use for Spawn? You need that type of voice. You need the sort of voice that, like, oh yeah, hello, welcome to heaven. You hear that voice, it goes like, nope, 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 you gotta go back. We can't have a guy like you.
No,
just fucking shit up.
fuckface. We gotta take you back to
Make
hell by
everything
your
feel-
balls,
like even
boy.
The devil, it sounds like the devil voice like makes the devil go like, nope, I don't want you around. I don't want that. I don't want that energy. You're keeping me the fuck out.
Oh, you might like this one. Supreme Omega says, on Dixon's Nightwing run, I feel the best parts of his run are when Tim Drake guest stars. I love those 90s Dick and Tim interactions. Chuck Dixon deserves more credit in shaping Tim Drake. I agree with that.
Wait.
You've read way more of the Chuck Dixon Nightwing era than I have, though.
Wait, can I ask a question? He said that the Tim and Dick was better than what? Than what?
No. He said that on Dixon's run on Nightwing, the
Right.
best part of that run is when Dick Grayson or when Tim Drake guest stars in the book.
Gentleman, Mr. Omega, that while I do like Dixon's run and while I do very much love Nightwing, Tim Drake has always been like my third favorite Robin. Don't get me wrong, Mr. Omega he isn't wrong by any stretch. He isn't, but like it's just a personal choice. Like he's always been like my third favorite Robin, if I'm gonna be honest.
Damn. So like so I'm assuming you like Dick first. First and foremost, you like Dick.
Right.
Yes.
Tim Drake is like my favorite. Like if we're ranking Batman sidekicks, Tim Drake is my fifth favorite. There's Dick first and foremost because I love Dick, love him. There's Jason. There's Barbara, and then there's like Cassandra, and then Tim comes in fifth.
Wait, but Cassandra's not really a. She's not a side. Okay, Cassandra's not a sidekick. I mean, she's a sidekick, but she's not like. She's not a sidekick in the same way that like Tim and Jason and Dick, and even like Stephanie for that like brief period of time. They like she's not a sidekick like they were sidekicks.
No, in the early 2000s, she almost felt like his daughter. There were times when Bruce was like, "You're a living weapon. You're a person, and I care about you." There was one comic I remember where I genuinely, it was like one of the first times Bruce came off as like a literal father, and it was. I'm saying this to you. I'm saying this to the chat. I'm saying this to everyone. One of the first times I ever read a comic where Bruce came off like an actual father was to Cassandra. Bruce and Dick always kind of felt like older brother, younger brother until like the age gap sort of widened, and then was like, oh yeah, Bruce is kind of like Dick's father. But like one of the best father-child moments Bruce ever had was with Cassandra. Like I genuinely believed for a moment, like, oh, this is almost like.
Yeah, but a father-daughter dynamic is different from a sidekick like superhero dynamic. Like Cassandra had her own. She had her own like flat. Like Bruce gave her own like bunker apartment.
No, you're right.
Like none of the Robins had that.
No, I'm not. Okay, so Cassandra at times was almost like a partner / daughter, but she is still one of my favorite partners to Bruce. She might be literally. She's one of my favorite. She's up there. It's her.
I feel that.
And her and Dick, like it's one of my favorite partnerships because again, truly, Bruce, me felt more like a father figure to Cassandra than he did before his actual son, Dick. Like there are times when it's like, well, you know, like they make the memes about how like he goes like, well, Jason, you being Robin was an accident, and like Jason was like your birth, but it's like if we're gonna be honest, Bruce's first kid, like. Was like Dick, then almost like Jason, and then Cassandra. Cassandra feels like his daughter in ways. Like
I'll disagree with you on that. I think Dick counts as, and I like what you were saying earlier. I prefer when Dick is like a younger brother figure because I honestly don't like there being that wide of a gap between Bruce and Dick.
No, Bruce should be like in his early 20s. Dick should be like 10, but the gap shouldn't be too big. It should be literally like an older brother, younger brother thing. I prefer that. And then,
and like I sometimes see Jason more so as like the first child.
Yeah,
because that's when Bruce is like 10 years older, and Jason's like a little kid. He's not a little kid, but he's like 12. It's like 11 or 12.
I can see that. Yeah, I can actually see that. Again, as I said.
So it's like a 30-year-old man going like, "Oh God, I gotta get this child off the streets."
Right. I can see that. I do actually prefer at times the Bruce being the older brother to Dick's, and Jason being sort of like a kid. Barbara like a partner more than a sidekick because of her age and just everything. Jason and Cassandra, children of Bruce Wayne. We're gonna be honest.
I also was never big on Barbara being like she's part of the Bat family, but like tangentially, like she doesn't become like an official like fold-in member until she's Oracle.
Until you mean like the Oracle times?
Yeah, like because before that she's like a, and I did a whole Batgirl video about the whole like Batgirl legacy and all that, but she's really like throughout the 60s and 70s she is a really important figure, especially after Dick goes off to college and is spending more time with the Titans, and then later the new Teen Titans. Like Barbara definitely kind of like takes on that more, I'm gonna be in the books and I'm gonna be helping out Batman by his side more so than Robin is, but like she was never really she never really felt like she was under the shadow of the Bat in the same way that the Robins were.
Right,
like she was always even as Oracle, she was her own thing.
Right, like you know, Cat Kane and everything, but before Cat Kane. Yeah, which I do respect. She is legitimately a partner to Bruce more than she would a sidekick.
Oh, it's good, Perry. Oh no, just saying, what's up to Perry in the chat?
Okay. Well, I've also always said that, you know, and I think I mentioned this to you. There are too many like superheroes in Gotham. Some of them need to relocate, which is why I was kind of like Tim in like Washington or like San Francisco, and I even suggested.
Or some of them need to die.
Yeah, some of them do need to die. But I also suggested Batwoman. I was like, well, if she's gonna do a bunch of like military stuff, which comes up every now and then, why can't you just relocate her to like near a military base or even DC, where she can do like political cover-ups? I think that might be the most interesting thing that she could do in the last couple of years, because it's like, oh well, now she's just like essentially a member of the Bat family. She's essentially Batman's number 2, and it's like, well, no, we have Nightwing, even though he's in Bloodhaven, and respectfully, I think me and you've had this conversation. Whenever you fold an existing Bat member in under the Batman shadow, you strip away whatever is interesting about them in their original runs and everything, and then they're just essentially just another person who operates in Gotham. And it's like, no, don't do that.
Like when we had Black Canary be like a Birds of Prey member, and she was in Gotham City, and she was just another Gotham vigilante.
And she was getting stuffed by Batman. Thank you, Frank Miller.
No, okay, that's not canon. That's Frank Miller's side universe.
Batman likes to fuck.
I mean, he did already.
Take that, Ollie. Take that right in your fucking face.
I mean, she kicked him in the face in that book.
It's the best thing. It's
Broke
like
his
that one meme.
broke his
Do you
teeth.
remember the one meme where like Peter has to watch Felicia kiss Doctor Strange, and he's like, I think this is my villain origin story and shit. Like, take that, Ollie. You get to watch your soulmate getting face fucked by Batman. Yeah.
The goddamn Batman.
Yeah. But yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, you take an interesting individual superhero who had like a whole thing by themselves, their whole persona and their whole like modus operandi, but now that they're in Gotham, they're just another member of the Bat family, just fucking nothing.
Now that you bring it up, I will say, I absolutely love the Black Canary design in All-Star Batman and Robin. I really like that they harken back to the Golden Age Black Canary design.
Yeah, just like a little jacket, that bustier corset type thing,
Oh yeah.
fishnets and the high heels. It's sexy, it's functional. Well, it's not that functional, especially if you get shot in the legs, but fuck it, it's sexy, and that's all that matters, baby.
I mean, it's no more functional than Flash's costume.
Hey man, fuck it. I'm not complaining. I'm not like some like, oh, how is that functional for her to fight crime? And it's like, who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? Like, why is it that when guys shoot at Captain America, instead of aiming at his legs, they just always decide to shoot at that big indestructible shield? Who cares? It's not functional. It doesn't have to.
It's plot armor, and it's awesome.
It's awesome. It's sexy. It's cool. Like, why can't you people just enjoy shit? Like,
What do you mean, you people?
like those people who like always have to like fucking like dig into some shit. Like, I don't understand. Why not just shoot at Captain America's legs? Well, why don't we just why do anything then? Why fucking do anything?
Well, that's like a comic book thing in general. Like, how come people are always shooting at Batman's chest instead of shooting at like the giant gaping face hole?
No, I mean,
Or like, how come no one put two and two together that Peter Parker, or when Peter Parker was a child, that like Spider-Man is a teenager? Like if you listen to teenagers talk, like you can kind of tell, especially if if we're going with the whole thing with like Peter Parker's like 15 when he shows up, like you mean no one? I mean I bet like. I'm sure 16-year-olds were like built different back in the 60s. You know, it was a rougher time period. You know, everyone had cigarettes for breakfast. So like,
let's all go down to the local like
I don't know,
shop for sodas and let's beat up some communists, fellas.
it's just he would sound like a kid. People would figure out that he's a kid. It's crazy that like Daredevil's the only person who puts it together in like those first like 40 issues or something.
Exactly. Why dissect it? Like, Superman only just, like, he pulls his hair down a little bit, puts on glasses, and people can't realize he's Superman? Well, fuck it, man. Like, what do you want? What do you want? Like, he vibrates super
I mean, that
quickly.
does work.
That's it. Like,
That does
why
work.
do you have to dissect it?
That one does work though. The Superman thing. Have you ever like had a thing where you saw someone with like a different hairstyle and glasses, and you kind of don't really like do a double take on them?
Well, maybe, but I also never dissected it because I'm not a dork.
Yes, you have, you dorcas.
Well, maybe I dissected it when I was like a cynical teenager, and I was like, I don't understand why does Superman? Why does no one recognize he's Superman? But then I put away my cynical way of thinking, and I was like, you know what? Who cares? It's fun. It's cool.
Well, Lois doesn't figure it out because she's a woman, so.
Yeah, she's a woman. Wow.
Yeah.
How's she? I mean, she's so busy ovulating. How's she gonna figure it out?
Yeah, look at those gams. That's why she got the job.
Like every time she looks into those big blue eyes, she just forgets her name and social security.
She's like, how big are you? Do you eat? Let me ask other questions that are like totally inappropriate for me to ask you. If I was a man, you'd probably like charge me with sexual harassment.
And what is it she asked in Superman 1? She literally asked him like, what are the color of my panties or some shit? It's like, what's going on, woman? You might as well just get butt naked if you're just so ready for him.
I mean, the first question she asked him was like, how big are you? And I mean, how tall? It's like, bro, ma'am.
She's literally so like obsessed with the dude. She doesn't care. Nothing. He can literally speak in tongues or in like riddles and should be like completely. She'd be like, what is it? That one article? It's written A Night with Superman. Well, you know what that's implying, Lois. And it's like, oh, I know what it's implying. Like, yeah, you do.
He's like, oh yeah, do you eat food? Yeah, of course. Yeah, that. Alien loving, race trading whore. Disgusting. Lex Luthor is right. We gotta build a wall to keep these aliens away from our human sisters.
Traitor slut.
Oh, dude, you know what? That's what the next evolution of Lex Luthor should be. Lex Luthor should be like Dr. Umar, but for like humans. He should be like a. He should, he should be like a xenophobic Dr. Umar.
Well, you know what's weird? They tried something kind of similar. Like, you know, I watched a little bit of that, like, Supergirl show on and off, right? It was hard to watch it at times, but I would watch it on and off just because, you know, I was starved for Superman content. And when I was watching the show, they introduced this one character. It's actually funny because he's played by the dude from,
I thought you were gonna say Dr. Umar for a second. I was like, oh man, that's perfect.
No,
That's so
dude,
perfect.
He's actually, there's this one character, he's played by the dude from all those, Star Wars games, Star Killer, you know the one I'm talking about? The one with voices.
Oh, what's up, Tevia? Oh, this is Greg. He's been on the show before. But yeah, I don't know because I didn't watch the Supergirl show.
No, I was gonna say the guy who I'm referring to, you know him because he's the face that they copied for a bunch of those Star Wars games, like Darth Vader's apprentice.
Oh, Sam Register, I think his name is.
Something like that. Yeah. You know the one I'm talking about. He plays this dude who's essentially like this just super like alien hater who essentially wants to kill and lock all. He's essentially like kind of a Nazi for like against aliens, and I always thought that's actually kind of interesting concept. You take that and you make a whole movie about it, like just a dude who really hates aliens. Like it's part of like the Lex Luthor concept, but it's like no, you can make it its own thing.
Oh, dude, are you reading the current Action Comics by Philip Kennedy Johnson?
I'm actually going to start that soon because you kept like recommending it, and I was like, fuck it, why not?
So they're like kind of doing that in the book right now.
Sorry, you were saying something?
No, they're kind of doing that in the book right now.
Oh, okay.
Like there's a whole thing where like it's like humanity first and like, brother, it's okay to dip exotic alien cream cheese on your human bagel every once in a while. But when you do it regularly, you are a traitor to the cause. Like it's you have like Metallo as like the enforcer to this humanity first movement. Like it's actually like really good.
Well, again, as I was saying, I was gonna probably read Superman and the Authority first because I thought that might kind of be interesting. It had mixed reviews, but then I was gonna read mostly because you told me that they had a great Metallo story, and I've told you Metallo has always been one of my favorite Superman antagonists, like for years, ever since Malcolm McDowell voiced him on the old Superman the animated series show.
Yeah,
he gave him such like depth and like just he made it such a like.
You like Metallo's depth?
What were you saying?
You like Metallo's depth?
I like getting deep into that alien robot pussy.
Oh, you slipped up for a second there. Are you a traitor to the cause, brother?
Nope, because instead of alien or human, I'm always gonna go back to my one and only love, robot pussy.
More human than human.
Robot pussy. But yeah, so you kept recommending it, and again, like, I'm a huge Metallo fan, like, you know. So it's like, oh yeah, I could go for like a good Metallo storyline.
Perry says Peter Parker's gonna be like, no cap on God, Aunt May, I'm gonna be in the back like, get the strap. Oh my god. Dude, Peter Parker is like Gen Z is just cringe. I'm here for it, but cringe.
Yeah, they're gonna reboot Peter Parker and he's gonna talk like, he's gonna talk in memes and shit like Peter, like, guess who I'm dating now? I'm dating Molten Man, and Pete's gonna respond with bombastic side-eye.
You're gonna be like, cap Aunt May, cap Auntie.
I don't like this at all.
On God, you can't be doing this. You can't be getting piped by Molten Man.
It would be the worst thing ever. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Like, that does sound bad, but yeah, like any good Superman, like you give me a halfway decent Superman story, I'm happy.
Well, that's like kind of the weird thing. This is like my big problem with like, we were talking about this earlier. Action Comics 775, like the Joe Kelly story, where like with the Elite. My big problem with that book is just
it's preachy. You've mentioned it.
Yes, it's preachy, but also it screams of insecure. Like, it feels like DC is like so insecure in their flagship character that they have to like pull out these diss track straw men of the Authority and say, my penis isn't small, this is actually pretty big. And it's like, dude, no one said anything about anyone's penis. What are you talking about, dog? No one brought up Superman being irrelevant. You brought that up.
Okay, true, but like the one thing I'll always give to Joe Kelly is like he always wrote like kind of fun and interesting comics, you know. Like he always knew how to make things fun. Like that one, I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about the whole whatever happened to Truth and Justice or whatever. Like, and they feel some type of way about that. But like, you know, Kelly had a way of making comics fun. You know what I mean? And like, I think especially nowadays, comics can be either overly preachy or overly serious. And it's like, well, no, you want to return back to when comics were like fun.
Well,
like,
I like most of the City of Tomorrow era for Superman, particularly the Joe Kelly stuff.
How do you feel about like Emperor Joker?
I love it, but that's not Joe Kelly. That's Jeff Loeb.
Is it?
Yeah, that's Jeff Loeb.
It's right.
Yeah, Jeff Loeb and Ned McGuinness did that one.
Superman, right? Or Batman and Superman. It's before Batman and Superman, right?
Yes. I know it's the same era.
It's like a little bit before that, but I get what you're saying. Well, I mean, still though.
Is Lex Luthor still president in that? Because the first arc of Batman Superman is like getting rid of the President Lex era.
Fair, yeah. But Kelly was fun, and he did have a lot of even if Emperor Joker isn't one of his things, even though Emperor Joker is a fun, weird comic. But I feel like that is symptomatic of the oversaturation of Joker. Like, it didn't have to be Joker. I mean, it was fine that it was, who becomes, like, you know, who steals Mr. Moo of Pitlet powers, but it didn't have to be Joker,
well,
if we're gonna be honest.
It's kind of weird. I both agree with you and disagree with you in that it is a symptom of, like, Joker oversaturation, but Joker's also just treated like one of the other supervillains of the DC universe. They don't do that, like, oh, he's an agent of chaos. He's brilliant and he's a genius. And he's like, Joker doesn't become. He's not Dr. Doom yet. Like, in the way that like he's Dr. Doom now. He's just another one of the DC universe supervillains. He's just one of the guys. I could totally see him like playing poker with like Gorilla Grodd and Lex Luthor and Malotha Ock and all those guys. Yeah, I could totally just see him being one of the guys. But like in a way that he's not really one of the guys anymore. He's like this weird, like, haunting force of nature, and I don't. I feel like when people write the Joker in that way, they're missing the point of the Joker. And let me know if I'm like. All right, let me know if I'm tripping. All right. One of the big reasons why I really like Jared Leto's Joker, and one of the big reasons why I really think that there is some potential to the new Isekai Suicide Squad anime Joker is that there's gonna be a Suicide Squad Isekai by Wit Studios. Looks really good. I wish it was literally anything else, but we're getting a Suicide Squad show. It looks pretty though, but the reason I like Joker's design in that show, and the reason I really like Jared Leto's Joker, is because he looks like a fuckboy. Like, he looks like a cringy, pathetic, dorky fuckboy with like a fashion sense that only like an emotionally stunted 20-year-old with the mind of like a 14-year-old would think is cool, because that's what the Joker is. He's not supposed to be this like force of nature. He's this agent of chaos. Like, that's what he tells people he is. That's what he wants the world to think of him as, but that's not him. Like, he's just some like violent narcissistic gangster who like gets punched in the face by Batman like every other week. Like, that's like the joke is that he's pathetic. Like, it goes back to that bit, and even Arcus brought this up in like it was it was a great callback, Arcus. Like, thanks, man. But Arcus brought up the Batman Beyond Return of the Joker scene, where like in the third act of that movie, you have Terry McGinnis just take the Joker off his game completely when he's like, dude, you suck. You got your skin bleached and your hair turned green. Couldn't get a gig as a rodeo clown. Just like dogging him the entire time, and Joker can't handle it.
Right.
Like, yeah, he's not cool. The Joker's a dork. he's an insecure dork.
No, I do genuinely like that. Like, people pointed out, like, if you look at all the shit, he's not tragic. He's not any of that. Like, one of the things that I liked most that Jeff Johns added to the Joker mythology, and it's one of the few things that I will give him credit for specifically in the Three Joker storyline. It's like, well, no, he wasn't this tragic figure. His wife was scared of him. She was genuinely terrified. So she went to her cousin, who was a cop, right? And it's like, oh, she helped. They faked her death, and she disappeared. Like, Batman even says, like, I've known who the Joker was for like after the second week or so that he showed up. And it's like, well, why not expose that? Because I also know that his wife has been in hiding for all these years. I expose that, someone will eventually get to the bottom of it, and then, you know, the dead ex-wife and child will never be left alone. Like, Joker isn't tragic. He's a man who's made his own mistakes and his own problems. He is his own worst enemy.
Yeah. And he doesn't want to fix those problems.
Exactly. He's not a tragic figure.
That's the difference between him and Batman. Batman's all about self-improvement and like taking that tragedy and like using it to be the best, like build yourself back up and be the best version of yourself that you can be, and also like build others up around you. Joker just wants to tear everything down.
Exactly. People love to be like, oh, he's either a tragic figure or he's like this like agent of chaos, and I always go like, well, no, he's not an agent of chaos. That's what he pretends to be. That's the joke. But he's also not a tragic figure like a guy like Mr. Freeze. No, he was like a demon of his own, like fuckery and whatnot. Like,
yeah,
his wife. He's not this like, oh, my wife died in this tragic accident, and we find out later like, no, she didn't die. She was terrified of you because you're a violent psycho, so she faked her own death just to get away from you. Like, literally, you're the problem.
Yeah, and even then, I like Mr. Freeze. To what you said earlier, I like the Jerry Duggan retcon for Mr. Freeze, where like Victor is not a complete victim in that whole scenario. Like, his wife, like, he was having his wife wasn't stepping out on him, but like he was super insecure where he thought that she was, and he's kind of like a meninist, like kind of red pill type husband who's like, oh, you came back like 2 minutes and 31 seconds after curfew. Who are you sleeping with, whore? Like he's like super kind of insecure, and he's like, you're spending my money, and I am nah. So when she finally gets sick, he locks her up in like a cryogenic stasis chamber, and he's like, I love you like this. I like actually making Mr. Freeze like a bad guy.
Right, and that's what you like, and I understand why that's an interesting way. But a lot of people, like the regular filler types, they're just gonna want their freeze to be tragic and like basic, so they're not gonna want to go down that whole path.
Yeah, but you can't do much with Mr. Freeze if he's not.
Yeah, no, you get an endless cycle of him just being like this tragic character. It gives you nothing to go with, which is kind of why I think that whole Heart of Ice episode was kind of supposed to be a one-off. Like, you were only supposed to have one, maybe two episodes.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't give you room to grow. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the first episode, and I also love that the episode where you get like this weird, like, psycho Walt Disney type of dude who's like, I want to live forever, just like you, Mr. Freeze. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
like, don't get me, I like that episode more than most people because it.
What can I tell you?
It's kind of shitting on Walt Disney, which I kind of love. Like, it's part of why I like that episode more than most people. It's like, you know, fuck that type of guy.
Well, also, like, there was the Sub-Zero episode where, like, he tries to kidnap Barbara and, like, take her... Like, he tries to, like, harvest her organs and, like, surgically give them to Nora. Dude, that movie, I think, is better than most people remember. Like, I think people kind of, like, dog it for, like, the CGI cars, but, like, if you go look past that, like, it's a really good movie. Like, I don't know, man.
It's weird. I've only ever seen the movie once, like, years ago. It's not bad, but it's like I only ever saw it once, and I was like, oh, this is okay. I don't love this.
Really?
Like,
I wore the VHS tape on that out when I was a kid. That was, like, my favorite Batman movie.
Like, respectfully, I only ever saw it once, and I was like, this is good. I like it, but I didn't have to rewatch it super many times. But the thing about, like Freeze was, like, whenever I would see those specific Freeze episodes, I would always be like, I can watch this once, love it, but I don't need to revisit it, like, constantly. Like, legitimately, I think I saw every one of those Freeze episodes, like, maybe 2 or 3 times over all these years, because when I'd see them, I didn't feel the need to return to them, like, constantly. It just wasn't one of those type of things. Like, the Joker or, like, Two-Face or Clayface episodes, I would return to pretty frequently. But, like, the Freeze episodes, as much as I love them, I wasn't... Like, how many times have you seen Heart of Ice?
I mean, I've seen it, like, maybe, like, once or twice.
I've seen, like, maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe even 4 times, but I don't feel the need to constantly return to it. I watch it, I loved it, but I don't, like, return to it constantly. Even the episode with the evil Walt Disney type dude, I really love that episode more than most people, so I've seen it probably more than most people, but I don't see it constantly.
Oh, quick question.
Right.
16 Tin Man asked to really, or, like, brought up something really fun. Ed McGuinness art. Big action figures go fight. I mean, that's why I like Ed McGuinness's art. Honestly,
Don't get me wrong, I do love that.
that's why I think it works a lot for, like, DC Comics in particular. Like, it works for DC in a way it doesn't work for Marvel, I don't think. I have that, like, toxic comic book trait of, like, pigeonholing artists. Like, whenever I see, like, Ed McGuinness's art on, like, Marvel characters, I'm, like, repulsed. I'm like, no, the Marvel Universe isn't supposed to look like this. This is the DC Universe.
But what about his Deadpool stuff?
Well, his Deadpool stuff works because it's like Deadpool's an unreliable narrator. Like, he is a character within the Marvel Universe, but you are looking at the Marvel Universe through his eyes. So it kind of looks like a big, violent cartoon because we're experiencing the Marvel Universe through Deadpool. As opposed to, like, when you read Rick Remender's X-Force and you see Deadpool and he's like actually just terrifying. Because you're looking at Deadpool, like, not as how we kind of see him in, like, his solo book. You're seeing him as everyone else in the Marvel Universe sees him, and he's just scary. He's, like, just weird and scary.
No, I get that. I mean, again, I do McGuinness's stuff. Don't get me wrong, I do enjoy his stuff.
Um, Supreme Omega says on Tinian's Detective comics, another criticism is the nostalgic retreads of the Tim and Steph romance and the Steph Cass friendship. I feel like he didn't understand that those bonds took years of build up pre New 52. That's I 100% agree with that. I also think that is symptomatic of the overarching problem with DC Rebirth, just in general, which was I liked a lot of those books, but you can't tell me that they weren't just. It wasn't just DC like lazily throwing a bone to like older DC fans saying, "Hey, do you remember? Do you remember DC pre Infinite Crisis? You remember DC in the '90s? How you liked DC in the '90s, and how everything was better in that bygone era? Do you remember? Like that's really all Rebirth kind of was."
When you reboot something and people don't react positively, the next reboot isn't even really a reboot. It's just a reset to like old factory default settings, like, which is kind of why I like Rebirth, because it was like you took what didn't work in New 52 and you were like, well, we respect what you guys were responding to, and we're trying to like fix it. Like, companies need to understand that it's not always fan service when you're giving people what they want. Sometimes they gotta literally address what didn't work and return to like what does. And it's like,
yeah, but it was like so half-hearted. Like, it was still the New 52 timeline. You still had the weird stuff where like Batman had like 5 Robins in 5 years. Like, it still didn't work.
Well, you know.
And then they like just kind of.
How long does it take for a kid to go from 13 to like 18? Like 4 months? It makes sense. It works. Don't think about it.
And then like and this is a hot take. I think a lot of people, particularly the Superman fans, don't like hearing this, but I don't like John Kent just off the break. Like, I think he's really cute in Superman Rebirth. I like that book. It's really fun. But just ripping post-crisis Superman out of whatever weird disjointed continuity hole that he was stuck in, and then just like lazily shoving him into the New 52 universe, and then just unceremoniously killing off New 52 Superman and saying, well, here's your Superman. Here's the Superman you like. And he also has a kid. Don't think about it. Shut up. Enjoy. Like, it's just so...
May I say something?
Shoot.
I'm going to say something, and I don't care how anyone responds to it. It's going to be like Andrew Tate levels of hot fire.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be like full sin. Down and dirty. Go for it.
Yeah. Well, Christopher Kent was always, and will always be, the best son of, Clark Kent. And I don't care who knows it.
I agree with that.
Christopher Kent. Better than John Kent.
Dude, post-crisis Nightwing, I'm down for it.
Yeah.
Or I guess post-crisis, like Nightwing number 3? Yeah.
No, Christopher Kent is the best son of Clark and Lois. And it's like they took everything that worked from Christopher Kent and were like, oh, well, let's do it with an actual, like, biological son of Superman. It's like, no, you people, like, Christopher Kent worked, and in a lot of ways John doesn't. And I think, like having that conversation, people just don't want to have that conversation.
And I feel like a lot of what we kind of see now with John is reactionary. Like, okay, John kind of doesn't work, but now let's age him up and make him a teenager. Now you've alienated the people who already don't like John because he's a continuity bubble or a continuity hole. But B, you've alienated the people who really like John and like gravitated to the Superman Rebirth book because of John.
Superman and Super Sons too.
Yeah, and then you did the whole, well, now you can't criticize him because he's bisexual. So any criticism that you have of him is actually is actually homophobic, and it's like, no, nope, you can't hide behind that. You can't. you can't hide behind your terrible decisions with the rainbow flag. You can't do that.
Jack, it's very true. He's bisexual, and he's very. That's very brave, and bisexual and brave, and all that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, him being bisexual might be that's you know what? That's how he's gonna defeat Lex Luthor, his bisexuality.
Yeah, it's not. It's also not like we haven't also tread this water with Connor like 15, 20 years ago, but sure.
You're sounding like a real homophobe, Jack. You sound like a real bigot.
Well, if you if you don't
like a real bigot?
if you don't jerk like me, you can hang from a tree.
Yeah. Yeah, Jack. I mean, John is so brave. He's so brave and brave.
He's so brave for daring to exist. In this continuity where he has no place.
Gay people don't have a place. Wow. I mean, come on, chat. Doesn't he sound like a big old homophobe?
Yeah, man.
Alert.
I'll take it. I'm whatever the chat needs me to be.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Like, John's brave and he's gay and that's the most important thing. He's gay and he's brave. Like, forget everything else.
Speaking of, unfixable mistakes, Tevye says...
People are not unfixable mistakes.
You said that, not me. Tevye says, question, I'm just wondering, do you believe Spider-Man in comics is beyond saving? At this point, yeah.
Like, if I can speak directly to
Burn
the
it.
chat, if I can speak directly to them, there was a time when I thought the Zeb Wells thing could be an interesting concept, but it's like, no, the whole thing became like this weird, I don't know, it became a weird, experiment, and don't get me wrong, I don't want to be one of those comic book fans who, sees a character going in, a different direction and just riots and shits and goes oh no, I hate this, it's not what I'm used to, but, what they're doing with Peter, it's getting hard to, it's just bad.
It just kind of... I'm supposed to buy that this man is, in his mid-30s, and I don't. It's just, I don't know, man. I don't really want to talk about Spider... I'm kind of at a point now where I don't really feel like talking about comic Spider-Man anymore. I just wanted to address your question, but, I don't know, man. Comic book Spider-Man at this point is just...
He's a black kid, essentially.
A lost
might
cause.
Be the worst thing ever. Yeah. But
well,
the Zeb Wells stuff is kind of hard to read.
Yeah. The Supergirl TV show actually gave Lex Luthor his armor suit. Oh, did it?
Wait, what? What are we talking about?
Yeah, 1610 Man says the Supergirl TV show gave Lex Luthor his armored suit.
Oh yeah, they did the war suit. I do remember that. It was
they did.
Yeah, no, they do.
Huh.
The war suit. Yeah, it's actually not bad. He's just flying around, blowing up like shit, and he's singing Frank Sinatra's "My Way." I remember that. It's fun.
Oh, that's
John Cryer
that's pretty cool.
Bad as Lex Luthor. He's not bad.
I like the way he looked. I like Lex Luthor with a beard because of John Cryer. I mean, Lex Luthor has had beards in the comics before. It's just I didn't think they looked good until John Cryer had a beard as Lex Luthor.
Well, weirdly enough, I've had this conversation with you where I said my perfect Lex Luthor is essentially just Philip Seymour Hoffman, and I feel like he always looked the most he looked always really good with a beard on. So I was like, if you're gonna do Lex Luthor, he can have a full head of hair and he can have a beard. I'm fine with that.
I still think my ideal Lex Luthor is Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd?
Yes, Paul Rudd.
Man.
Dude,
Philip
okay.
Seymour Hoffman is one of the greatest actors of his generation.
But can you envision Paul Rudd being a bad guy?
it's hard. I mean, no, he was a bad guy in that one. It was like a Netflix original. It was called Mute. It's not actually a bad movie. Hey, chat, just so you know, Mute. It's actually a pretty good movie. Think about watching it.
Okay, but like still though, like the thing I like about Lex Luthor in general is that just like he's such a con artist that you can't conceive of him being a bad person. Like the only people that know for sure that he's a bad guy is like the small contingent of people within the Daily Planet, like Clark, Lois, Perry, and Jimmy, and Ron Troop. Like 5 out of like 1,500 people working in that building know that Lex Luthor is a bad person,
Right.
and like
Respectfully,
everyone else in Metropolis loves him.
Respectfully, Philip Seymour Hoffman could play anything. He could play conniving cult leader. He could play that fools the world. He has that.
Well, he could have, but he's dead.
Yeah, he is. And we lost a great actor that day.
We lost the hooch.
I mean, it was great. Okay, well,
No more of that super hooch. No more of that super hooch.
His son's an actor. Maybe his son could play like young Lex Luthor.
Oh, like Lex. Have like the Lex Luthor Jr. with the weird Irish accent for no reason.
Well,
like in like from the Death of Superman era.
Yeah, or Alexander Luthor Jr.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like Alexander Luthor Jr. Alex Ross just Kingdom Comed. You mean Kingdom Came?
No, but I get what you're saying though. Like it's an interesting concept. Like he needs to be so energetic and so like believable as a cult leader or as like just a man of the people. You can't really see him as being the villain. Which don't get me wrong, Paul Rudd would do pretty well.
Yeah, I can see that. That's my big thing. Like, he's like Lex should be like such a likable guy. You can't see him as a bad guy. So it makes those scenes where like he's behind closed doors and like the facade drops all the more terrifying. But Supreme Omega says, positive Spider-Man question. What Spidey stories and runs you have not read but want to read? You answer first. My esteemed guest.
Okay. Okay, sure. There's this one run. It's only like 24 issues, but it came out in like, if I'm not mistaken, the early 2000s. I think it was. I want to say Astonishing Spider-Man, I think. I remember it because he's wearing like the red and gold suit. It's supposed to be taking place during like leading up to Civil War, I guess, because he has the gold suit.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I think I do at least.
I think I've only ever read one issue from that, and it was like, oh, well, one of these days I'm going to read the whole thing. Because Spider-Man fights El Muerto, baby. And we all know El Muerto's going to be the guy. He's going to be the guy who kills the Beyonder. I believe that. He's going to come in, he's going to save the multiverse, he's going to kill the Beyonder, hopefully played by Keanu Reeves, and he's going to like throw him in a headlock, and then he's going to like suplex him straight to hell.
Well, wait, which Beyonder? The one who had his eyes carved out, or just another Beyonder? Because they all look the same.
Not the original, baby.
The original's dead.
Yeah. Oh, hopefully they bring him back. Keanu Reeves does it. Like, people have said, like, the perfect actor to play the original Beyonder would be Keanu Reeves, and I could see that. Like, big shoulder pads and everything.
Oh, yeah. With a massive head.
I'd really be into that. Like, Keanu Reeves, like, he plays them, like, fun, but also kind of, like, cool and detached. Like, who are you supposed to be? Like, man, I'm the guy from Beyond.
Yeah.
You can call me the Beyonder.
I'm watching your gams, bro.
But Like, I've just been watching everything.
I just like to watch.
I love what I'm seeing.
I just like to watch.
Yeah, him as like this cool like Zen sort of like dude, but like when you get him pissed off, he really blows up and shit. Like, I would love that. Like, Keanu Reeves as the Beyonder would be the coolest thing ever.
I'm trying to think of Spider-Man book that I haven't read. You know, I haven't read the bulk of those Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man issues.
Which ones?
The Jerry Conway run.
The first one, like
that material hasn't been collected
I've read
properly.
Those. I've read those like years ago. Like it like just shows up and it's like, oh yeah, Spider-Man versus like, because Conway was really young and it was like, oh, and he was just like this young dude like trying to tackle the world through Spider-Man comics, which is a really fun, interesting way to look at the world.
Let's talk about Vietnam. This isn't going to be terribly dated in the next 30 years, but let's talk about Vietnam.
Let's, like, yeah, like, what happens if, like, South America gets their own Captain America? It's a weird dude with, like, pointed feet and shit. Which is
I didn't kill that man. I thucked him. I thucked him with my feet. He's been thucked in his chest. He's not dead, though.
Oh, by the way, if we're going to talk about, like, great villains who need to show up in, like, a movie, and I think this might be, like, a really good, interesting thing. Like, what about Teen Titans going up against the Mighty Endowed? You know, you remember Mighty Endowed?
Oh no, I thought you were gonna say Snowflame. I don't know who the Endowed is.
Mighty Endowed, Young Justice, right? One of their first antagonists is a woman. Her name is Nina Dowd. She goes through this experiment which transforms her into the Mighty Endowed, like just like a super villainess with giant knockers. You don't remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
Google it. Nina Dowd, aka like DC's Mighty Endowed.
God, I love DC so much.
Yeah, man, like that early shit, it was really ballsy, and it was just like, yeah, like, and they're all super excited. Well, let me change that. Connor is the most excited. Connor and Wally, they're like, wait, we're gonna fight her, and like Connor is like, we get to fight her. Like, just like, yeah, let's fight her.
That's another. Okay, wait. That's another one that I haven't. That's another run that I haven't read in its entirety. I've read issues here and there of Young Justice, but I haven't read the entirety of the Peter David Young Justice book. That's one that I have to read.
Yeah, well, it's funny too because years later they actually address that and go like, no, that was problematic, and it's like that actually was like not funny or cool at all. Like, young boys like having like going up like young boys shouldn't have been happy about that. And it was like, really? I remember when I was a young boy, and it's like when we had a fine substitute teacher that made our day, that made the week.
Well, I keep getting told by people who have read Young Justice and like the later material that's like kind of building out of it, like the Jeff Johns Teen Titans and whatnot, that everything that came after it breaks Young Justice. Like Jeff Johns Teen Titans, which I really enjoyed growing up, but I've been told that like that breaks the Young Justice series by Peter David.
Wait, you mean the one from New 52?
No. The one that was like kind of rebooted as like a means to synergize with the cartoon at the time in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
I liked the comic a lot when I was younger, but I've been told that if I go back and read Young Justice, I will find a lot of problems with it. As is the case with a lot of Jeff Johns stuff. I mean, I don't have anything against the guy. It's just I don't get the hype the more I read from him. Like,
because you're a Marvel fanboy. You Marvel shill. Who's paying?
What a shill you are.
Is this some sort of Ratatouille thing where, like, that Mickey Mouse, he's in your hair just piloting you like some sort of, like, puppet? Is that what this is, Ratatouille?
It's funny because you've seen people get mad at me and say that I'm like a DC fanboy for critiquing Marvel.
No, I have, yeah.
Yeah, 1610 Man says, Jeff Johns is Young Justice. Yo, welcome to the Johnsverse, bruh. I mean, yeah. And Lex Luthor Jr. was Australian. Okay, never mind. Still weird.
I mean, you would assume he has kids all over the world, right? Like, he seems like the type of dude who wants to, like, breed women so he can, like, create an army of, like, super intelligent, like, seed and whatnot.
Like Nick Cannon?
Nick Cannon's just trying to take over the world. I gotta respect that. Like Genghis Khan. Just trying to, like, get as many women pregnant as humanly possible.
The next generation is me. It's all me, baby.
It's me. It's just me. Me. I get that. Just trying to breed as much as possible. Like a farmer would.
Oh, speaking of farming and plowing, I saw a Supergirl comment, but then I got distracted, so we're gonna talk about Batgirl. Supreme Omega says, on Batgirl, on the whole, Steph replacing Cass and the Batgirl mantle thing, is it still worth being mad about? I mean, it happened 14 years ago, and Cass is back to being Batgirl. Is it a time to move on? I mean, I've moved on. I'm glad that she's back to being Batgirl.
Who, Steph?
Well, both of them. I think it's cool that they're both Batgirl now. I just don't like the actual book.
I think Steph should go back to being Spoiler, if we're gonna be honest.
I think ideally Steph, but this is a problem like inherently with superhero comics, or I guess corporate comics. I think Steph should retire being a superhero.
Yeah, because Steph and Tim always felt like they were supposed to.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like maybe not so Tim after his father dies, but definitely Tim before Identity Crisis would grow out of it. But
being killed by Captain Boomerang.
Boomerang, yes.
I love that more than anything else.
Dude, me too. I love it. Like you have Captain Boomerang's just like fat lard body getting like riddled with buckshots.
It's great. It's the best thing ever.
But yeah, no, I think ideally,
it is kind of sad though when like the rogues are just being like, you know, once a rogue, always a rogue.
But like I don't know, I think that's really good for like ongoing storytelling. Like yeah, like a lot, like a bunch of the Flash's rogues kind of went in weird different directions. Like Hartley became like he became a good guy. He like works for the CCPD, or I guess the Keystone PD, and he helps the Flash out with a bunch of stuff. And for a brief period of time, Captain Cold retired. I thought that was a good status quo for Captain Cold after Barry Allen's death. And then you just had you had like a Mirror Master, like the first Mirror Master died, I think, and then he got replaced by like a cokehead, and then
Everett McCulloch.
Yeah.
Who actually was also a killer, like a trained killer.
Yeah, and then but then you just have Captain Boomerang, who's just like a washed up dork, who's like, I was on the Suicide Squad. It's totally a real thing. It's led by Amanda Waller, mate, and I'm fat now. I got compensated in beer. And he's like, I'm gonna relive the glory days. I'm gonna murder some aristocrat in his house because I'm not the supervillain I used to be.
Right. Let me ask you a question, because this was something I always remembered, but I always forgot to like Google one day. Boomerang's son, he has super speed. Who was his mother again? Did they ever say that, or it was sort of teased?
I thought it was Golden Glider. I thought.
Right. but he also had super speed, though, right? And did they ever explain that, or no?
They did, but I forgot at this point. It was explained in It was explained in Dastardly Death of the Rogues.
It's something I'll look up.
And I don't have that on hand anymore.
It's fine. I'll look it up on my own self. I always thought it was cool that they brought in a new Captain Boomerang. They gave him some powers, and it was like, okay, well, because again, the rogues were Barry's thing, and then years later they were no longer a thing anymore. Like, people grew up, people died, people retired. It made sense. It showed progress and growth. I like that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, the rogues were supposed to be a Barry thing, and it's like a few of them are still existing. Like Trickster's son is still popping up and shit. But like,
well, Axel's not his son.
Or a guy who thinks he's the first Trickster's son.
Yeah, I thought he was a fanboy.
Right. So like, it shows progress. Dudes, mantles get passed down even with villains. Like, it's episodic in a way, but it's also like just growth. Like,
yeah, it's ongoing storytelling.
Exactly, it's ongoing storytelling, which is what made them so good at.
It's what I liked about
DC.
It's what I liked about the and I like Jeff Johns' run on the Flash, but something I liked about the Jeff Johns Flash is that the Rogues were gone. Like you the Rogues were a Barry Allen like threat, and then like you had these like discount versions of the Rogues popping up. Like you had Chillbane for a long time, but then you had like a real major threat that was like specific to Wally in the Cult of the Cobra.
Right, and another thing, Chillbane. Literally, if you look through, if you decide to ever watch like the entirety of the Flash show, you will realize how much they just straight up took and stole from Wally West. They cannibalized his whole entire story and his mythology.
I could only watch 2 seasons of that show.
Trust me.
I think
you'll see what I'm talking about.
That's a tall order, man.
Cannibalization.
That's a tall order. I thought season 1 was really fun. Season 2 was like, okay.
No, okay. I get what you're saying. I could barely get through like season 5 and 6, and there are like 3 or 4 more seasons afterwards, right? And it's like, well, never gonna see that shit. Never.
1610 Man says, pre-crisis Earth 1, Jason Todd had more of a fatherhood relationship with Bruce Wayne. Yeah, that's how I always read it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh, you just beat the Arkham. Perry just beat the Batman Arkham Asylum game. Nice, nice. That's a good one. Adam says, as Green Beanie has mentioned, writers retread what was already overcome, and there are no stakes. He has such a huge supporting cast with the Bat Family. We were talking about Nightwing here, and the Teen Titans, that nothing he does is impactful. Well, I think the problem with the current Tom Taylor run is that so much of it is just, hey guys, wouldn't it be cool if Dick Grayson had childhood trauma? And it's like, yeah, this has already been covered. Like there are no stakes because we already know where the story winds up.
And also because we know how desperate, like, respectfully, as much as the fans love Nightwing, we also kind of know that DC for years kind of didn't respect Nightwing, or how much we loved and felt devoted to Nightwing. Like, how many times did the heads at DC wanted to kill off Nightwing? Like 3 different separate times. And it's like, we know you guys don't love. Like, it's weird that the people who are managing this character have no idea what to do with him and don't respect him as much as we do. And it's like, I don't like to be this angry about something, but as someone who's always loved Nightwing for years, it's weird that I have to like go like, oh yeah, like you people don't appreciate Nightwing. Well, we know this for a fact because he tried to kill him off 3 or 4 separate times.
I also think it's the problem we were talking about earlier with Stephanie Brown, which I don't think I finished that point, but I guess I'll just rope this in there as well. Characters get stuck in status quos because of how popular they are. I think Dick Grayson should not be Nightwing now. I think Dick Grayson should be Batman. Like that, like everything.
Came up during the Morrison time, though. It's like.
Well, everything from Morrison onward should, like that is the next evolution of that character. You can't walk back on that, especially after Scott Snyder and Jock did Black Mirror. Like Black Mirror, I think is like the final nail in the coffin for Dick Grayson being Nightwing. You can't go back to him as being Nightwing. But then New 52 happened, and like they did anyways. But they also said that stuff where he's Batman still happened. I just don't.
I guess
He should know like the scene where he beats up Deathstroke in the hospital bed, who like used to be his major arch nemesis, like was the man who gave him nightmares, who freaked him out as like a young boy. When he became Nightwing, that was him getting over his fear of essentially his father, because Deathstroke is like an evil version of Batman. So, and having like,
his bad daddy.
Yeah. So like, and having Dick become his own man in Nightwing, and then beat up his bad daddy. Like, by the time Dick becomes Batman. Like when he becomes Bad Daddy, when he becomes his father, like Deathstroke ain't shit to him. He's just some grouchy old man yelling, "Get off my lawn!"
No, I like, but to be fair though, in a lot of ways, like I always like to say that there are a group of people who are part of this generation who grew up with like Terry McGinnis as Batman, who understand that Batman. There's only one Bruce Wayne, but Batman is a title. It gets passed down from one dude to another, and it's like, oh, like, Bruce Wayne is Batman. Like, yeah, no one's saying that he wasn't Batman, but it was a title, and eventually it will end up in Terry McGinnis' hands. Like, you people are so strict with it, and so, like, unmovable about anything. It's the reason why we can't have any form of momentum. It's a title. It went from Bruce to eventually Damian, maybe, and Tim to eventually Terry McGinnis.
Well, I also can't go to Damian because like the whole point of Morrison's run is that the future that you see in Batman 666, that is a dark future.
Right. Okay. Fine.
Or 664, I think. Like but that is a dark future that has to be avoided.
No. Okay. Fine. It goes from Bruce to Dick, to Tim, or whoever, and eventually ends up in the hands of Terry. But it's a title. It is a title.
Well, I'll disagree with you on that. I think you can have multiple Batmen at the same time.
Yeah,
I think
of course you can.
I think Batman is unlike Spider-Man.
Right.
Batman is a force of nature. Batman is an urban legend, but like to criminals around the world. So like you can have stories where like Bruce Wayne is like the globe-trotting Batman who's like the international like man of mystery, but you have Dick Grayson.
Thank you, Denny O'Neil. Thank you. I get it. I know what you're going for.
Yeah. Wait, what about Bruce Wayne Jr., son of Bruce and Kathy Kane? He doesn't count.
especially because now Kathy Kane is his
That's
cousin.
that's his
What
cousin
Sweet
now.
Home Alabama shit is this?
Well,
Who suggested that?
well, hold on a second. I think we've all seen Succession
Cousins.
here. No, we've seen Succession. We know how to keep it in the family.
Ugh.
We know how the ultra wealthy. We know how they do.
That's some.
We seen them do what it do.
That's some like Roosevelt shit. Like, oh, I love her, and she's also my fifth cousin. Disgusting.
Grant Morrison would have the balls to write that. No one else would, but Grant Morrison would.
Like, yeah, we're keeping it in the family. Bruce, Martha, like, oh no, Thomas and Martha. The reason why she's so crazy is she's like comes from like 3 generations of inbreeding. Like, oh my goodness.
I mean, okay.
Bruce is cuckoo.
I still think someone should play with the dangling plot thread of the Black Glove knowing that Bruce Wayne is Batman. Like, as soon as Grant Morrison kind of like ripped that Band-Aid off and just say, yeah, no, the if people in the government know that Bruce Wayne is Batman, the ultra wealthy are going to like have connections and know that Bruce Wayne is Batman too.
Oh, absolutely.
So like, why not have? Why?
A lot of them know. Like we know Amanda Waller knows. We know certain members in Checkmate know. We know that there are like more than like not even a handful. We know dozens of people know Bruce Wayne is Batman, but for one reason or another, either because they're legitimately scared of Batman, some of them just don't like expose that information.
Well, why not just have one psycho cokehead billionaire trust fund brat walk up to Bruce Wayne at one of these Gotham functions and say, hey, I know what you are. I'm going to expose you on the internet, but I won't if you let me have the boy for one night.
Ugh.
Like,
let me have the boy. Ugh, that is truly disgusting, but I do know what you mean. Like, it always...
How come no one's taking advantage of that? Like, there's story potential there.
No, yeah, you know what's weird? That always felt like a Black Mask story. You mentioned that once, and I always remember thinking, yeah, that feels like some weird shit Black Mask would be into.
Yeah. Is Drummond Tiana still the child of a wealthy cosmetic family? Or did they have they just gone full on like gangster and just made him like nothing but a gangster?
The last story I read is when he ends up stealing the face of some like DC CEO tech billionaire, and like he goes up against like a Batwoman. I think that was the last story. No, the last story I read. Yeah, that's the last story. Because he's talking to Lex Luthor, and Luthor goes like, "What have you even accomplished, Roman?" And he was like, "What have I accomplished? I had an empire worth $500 million." And Lex laughs at him and goes like, "Well, that's cute, I guess, $500 million. But no, let's talk about real money." And it's like, well, that's demoralizing.
Yep.
That's a really demoralizing thing for you to say, to laugh at my $500 million. Well, no, it's a cute amount of money.
It's a cute amount of money. Yeah.
That's not bad. But it's legitimately how Lex just sort of laughs at that. He goes like, yeah, oh no, you thought that's a serious amount of money. No, that's adorable.
I piss $500 million every morning, so.
Yeah, that's adorable.
Roman.
Oh, that's adorable. That's the last story I read with Black Mask and the original Black Mask. Even though I've told you many times, I think that I prefer Jeremiah Arkham.
Interesting.
But Roman is fine. He's a fine antagonist for Bruce or whoever wants to like have him as an antagonist, I guess.
1610 Men says Stanley Kubrick's Batman, owls wide shut.
Yeah.
Dude, I've been very critical of the Scott Snyder run on Batman.
You have.
But the one like the biggest thing I can give that whole run is compared to any other Batman run, I think the aesthetic, the artwork definitely, but the aesthetic is genuinely unnerving. Like it has that like Stanley Kubrick eyes wide shut kind of feel to it, and like I fuck with it for that.
I get you.
MJ
You
and
almost feel like
Spider-Man
you
should have
becoming
gotten
a bunch
divorced.
of orgies.
Wait, what about the orgy?
No, you almost feel like there should be like a bunch of orgies everywhere. Like Silver St. Cloud is like in an orgy someplace. Goes like, Bruce, come on, we're talking about stocks. But it's like to be so rich, like you don't even pay taxes.
No one really plays that up when they write Batman. I don't know why. It's like we all know this is what the obscenely wealthy do. So
Yeah,
write about it. Write about it.
Like literally, like just Mad Hatter supplying their orgies with like hairless, like young preteens. Like, oh, they're so young and like hairless.
Well, I mean, Chuck Dixon did with
Yeah, I know.
and
That's sort of what I'm mentioning. But like,
Robin Year One.
no, I get you. No, that is partly what I was mentioning.
Oh, okay. Supreme Omega says, on John's Wally run, another criticism I had is that you can tell John's always had a hard-on for Barry and Hal, even back then. The secret identity retcon feels like him trying to make Wally more like Barry. Yeah, I can see that. I'll grant you that he's trying to make him more like Barry, but I disagree in that I think looking at Wally's trajectory as a character up to that point, which I think it was like the post Blitz. I don't know what the name of that story is where they have the art change and Wally's like a mechanic, but I feel like everything up to that point is Wally becoming dissatisfied is the word, but like there's another word for it. He's becoming disillusioned with the super celebrity life, and he's tired of like, huh?
He grows out of it.
Yeah, well, and he's tired of like being on dinner dates with his wife, and then like random women walking up to him and going like, I had your baby, take responsibility. Like, you just get tired of that after a certain point. And then like the whole thing with like Professor Zoom, where Linda miscarries. That's like that is the straw that breaks the camel's back. He's like, all right, just put the identity back in the bottle. I can't do this anymore. I like that Wally kind of goes from being like a super celebrity to going, I can't do this anymore. I don't want this. I wanted this when I was younger, but I don't want this now.
Oh yeah, but you remember what Wally was like when he was younger? Man loved the poontang.
Yo, absolutely, but that's
stick it in everything he could. Even
yeah.
Raven, who it's implied she was sort of like mind controlling him, which
yeah,
not very PC.
She's also the person who like reveals his identity to the public.
Not very PC, Raven.
Nope.
But to be fair, Raven was never like, people like to think she's sort of like this goth emo girl, like just shy, keeps to herself, but she's actually pretty problematic when you think about it.
Well, you know, she's the daughter of one of the 800 versions of Satan in the DC universe, so you know it's kind of
kind of. I think she doesn't have problems. Don't get me wrong. She more than anyone, she does have her issues. So it does manifest in some real weird and interesting ways, but even still, like, you know, she's mind controlling. Like, it's legitimate. It's implied and sort of just shown straight up that she's mind controlling Wally, and she's sort of mentally and sexually manipulating him. And it's like, well, I get that you have a demon daddy who's trying to invade the Earth, but you're sort of like
just like a woman.
Girl boss gatekeep gaslight or whatever, but she is sort of like puppeting Wally.
Wally was speed dicking for a decade before Linda Park. Yeah. But the way Greg LaRock draws Linda Park, I see why he stopped. Just throwing that out there. Just throwing that out there.
He was thick.
Amen. Amen. Oh shit, my phone's about to die. All right.
Slow the Speed Force. She was thick.
All right. On that note, you're killing my phone. My phone's about to die. But I'll let you later, right?
Alright.
All right. See you, bro.
Have a good night, everyone. Peace.
Happy Hanukkah.
Alright.
Ah, fuck. It's fine. What if comics? Dude, I love talking with Greg. I need to like have him like actually like on an official podcast again instead of just like calling in. It's just like what would we talk about? Like we never stick on like a topic. Popularity equals stops progression of characters. Yeah, that's like an unfortunate reality. It's the reason why like Stephanie Brown. I think the ideal ending for that character is for her to just give up being a superhero, and just like live life as like a normal 20-something college student. But that would never happen because she's popular, and we remember when Stephanie was in the book. Just like how like I don't know, I mean I went on a whole rant about Dick Grayson's Batman. Dick Grayson, that really should not have been doubled back on. Supreme Omega says, this may sound depressing, but I feel like it's nigh impossible to undo the damage that the Flashpoint reboot created. At this point, to me, the New 52 is essentially one more day on a grander scale. Oh, you're right. I hate that you're right, but you're right. Although, I think with the DC universe, you have more wiggle room because DC has always been this like disjointed, just mass of storytelling, whereas the Marvel universe is supposed to be a linear narrative. So when you go back in time and you fuck with shit and you like retcon a bunch of stuff like, hey, actually Peter and MJ were never married, that actually does, that fucks up a lot of shit. When you go back and read comics, you just have to pretend like Peter and MJ aren't married. Like, okay, so when Peter and MJ are on their honeymoon, and the Puma's like, "Hey, I'm gonna give you, I want to make you guys rich," and Pete's like, "No, I'm gonna do this for my wife, and we're gonna, I might be poor, but I'm gonna have integrity, because that's how you start a family." What is the context of that scene now? They're not married. So what is the context of that scene? Or the entirety of Spider-Man: The Evil That Men Do, where Black Cat comes back into Peter's life and she's like, "Ooh, I'm getting older and I'm actually starting to notice how I don't have my good looks that I did when I was in my 20s, in my 30s now. Pete, you wanna settle down? I'm down to settle down. You want to please get married to me? Let's settle down, please, because Gage is catching up to me. Like she's really nervous. Like the thing that really that story hinges on Peter being married to MJ. Like, Peter's like, okay, but we are adults. And I know that I was fucking around a lot when we were in our 20s, but, like, I can't do that anymore. I am a committed, like, monogamous, married man. And I can't be playing games out here. I ain't for the streets. The whole story hinged on Peter being married and, like, accepting his reality as, like, being a, like, late 20s, early 30s something adult. What is the context of the evil that men do now that Peter isn't that? I don't know, dog. It's just DC. You have a lot of weird wiggle room where you can just like go like, where does this story take place? Do you like it? Yeah, then shut the fuck up. Like, you can't really do that with Marvel Comics. The Marvel Comics isn't really set up that way, so it's much more egregious when Marvel does it. It's kind of a double standard there, I guess. But Joe Kelly's Superman 775 meaningless inspirational speeches. You're gonna love my next video. Grant Morrison said, "Screw realism continuity until I do it." Like, I love Grant Morrison, but they very much are. I hate when people do this, and then they turn around and do exactly the thing that they say they hated. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing, Grant? What are you talking about, Grant? What's going on, Grant? You can't. Arcus says, on side, I agree with you about my adventures with Superman and shaking their perception about Superman, but also I don't want for Superman to become associated with Yowie or have him become baby girl for the next 70 years. I mean, I feel you, but the way I'm looking at it, I just want for Superman to, like, get popular enough for Warner Brothers to feel confident in greenlighting a Superman video game. If this is the only way to do that, then, like, I will take it. That's literally just where I'm at now. I don't care. I don't care. I'm broken now. I am become cringe. Supreme Omega says, also on Identity Crisis with Sue's rape. The problem I had with the execution, let's see what you did there. It's not about Sue. Sue doesn't have any agency in dealing with the aftermath. It's not through her own point of view. Yeah, so I've definitely come around on a lot of the complaints that people have, or I guess have had with Identity Crisis. I personally didn't mind it growing up because I didn't really like a lot of those 90s Justice League International characters. As far as I was concerned, they were like the jokey, goofy... They were the B-team Justice League before, like, Grant Morrison came in and, like, fixed them alongside Howard Porter, and you had Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, like the A-listers on the real Justice League. But, like, after, like, kind of getting caught up on some of that 90s stuff, I do get the appreciation that a lot of those characters have. I get why they have a fan base, and I do get why that fan base was, like, really just kind of, what are you doing? When Brad Meltzer Identity Crisis. I get it. I get it now. I still like the story though, but I do get it. Justice League International ruined Ted Cord. Never been Ditko's serious tech Spidey take since. Yeah. We will see what happens with the Blue Beetle movie. I'm still holding out that Booster Gold is just gonna show up randomly and go like, oh, Ted's dead? When did he die? Boop, 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 boop. Okay, I'm just gonna reach in this portal and grab Ted before he dies, like the second before he dies. Therefore, my friend's not dead. We're just gonna have Blue Beetle Booster Gold stories. I can totally see that happening at the end of the movie. But we'll see. In like what, the next 2 or 3 weeks when that movie shows up in theaters. Actually, that movie's coming out very soon, and like I haven't really seen any promotion for it. It's kind of weird. But I am excited for it. You know, I'm excited for DC's The Guyver, essentially. Although, real shit, if this movie, like, bombs, like, I don't even think the James Gunn DC universe is gonna, like, get a chance to take off. I think it's gonna just be over. Like, it's just so Jover. But we will see, in the meantime, though, I am going to actually sign off, and I'm going to work on this Action Comics 775 video that I'm almost finished writing. I hope this doesn't turn into a 4-pager. That would suck. But yeah, I can definitely edit like a 3-pager in like the next week and a half. But yeah, guys, hey, thank you very much for showing up, and I am Mystical Green Beanie, and I am going to see you guys later. So, hasta la pasta, hasta luego. Keep your booty hole clean, and remember, stay fuego.